Welcome back to the Mason Movement podcast. My name is B.
And I'm Jessy.
And today is all about reclaiming your power after emotional abuse. And this could be emotional abuse in a romantic relationship. That's what we're primarily going to be talking about today because that's what we've personally experienced in regards to this topic. But honestly, you can apply this to a parent-child relationship, a friendship. Yeah.
Whatever works for you.
Whatever you're experiencing. And our hearts go out to you if you have or are experiencing a relationship like this. It sucks.
Yes.
It can be very like covert because it's, not some might say it's not like as obvious as obviously like the physical abuse situation.
Correct.
It can be kind of hard to pinpoint, especially when you're in it.
And I don't necessarily think like the partner who may be like doing the emotional abuse is always aware either. It may just be like a subconscious thing, or it could be really intentional, or could be a mix of both.
Totally.
Yeah.
To get into the mind of someone that's doing that is a little frightening.
Yes.
So that's why I had that reaction.
Yeah.
Okay. So where are we going to start?
We're going to start with you.
Naturally.
Okay. Yeah. So in your experience, like hindsight's always 2020.
Yeah.
You always, the rose-colored glasses fall away.
Yeah.
You can see very clearly all of the red flags. What were some like big indicators that you endured emotional abuse?
Like looking back, because
like
I
looking back.
certainly didn't know when I was in it. But looking back, there are two things. One big thing is I was just always feeling like I was doing something wrong. I was doing something wrong. I was saying something wrong. I'm thinking about one relationship in particular, and like I would do or say something and like it wasn't like quick enough, it wasn't fast enough, it wasn't like happening on this person's time, and I was just always feeling like, oh my god, or like my feelings aren't valid. Like I would express the few times that I did speak up and say, hey, like this really hurt me, there was like no accountability on that person's end. And so I in turn just felt like, oh, like my feelings aren't valid. Like, oh, that's not right. So, if that happens like one or two times, I don't see that as emotional abuse, but it's like consistent, a pattern over time. If that's happening, then that's what constitutes abuse.
Right.
The other thing that really stands out for me is a pattern over time, that the classic cycle of abuse. Like this is what I learned, in school.
Yeah.
For therapy, for, studying human beings and relationships. So, you're going on in your relationship, you get into an argument, emotions are super high. There's a big fire, it's wild, like super volatile. But then, right after to make up, there's, the classic like love bombing, the gift giving, the whatever it is to make up, amazing makeup sex. It could be literally anything.
Right.
And then, that pattern, that cycle just repeats and repeats and repeats. And you can be in that for years,
I was.
You were. Let's talk about what that was like for you.
You don't see it until you see it. Like you said, I didn't really know that I was being emotionally abused and manipulated when I was. But I think some of the biggest indicators to me were feeling like I was feeling crazy all the time. Like and then I realized like, wait, I'm being gaslit. Like this actually did happen. And this person is totally like manipulating my mind. And I just, it makes you feel crazy. You're just like, they could get, I feel like I was being convinced of anything that And yeah, just like the pattern, like you were talking about, everything would be fine. And then, there would be an argument or something, big explosion, big emotions, and then like love bombing. Everything's fine for a little while. And then it's just like repeating and repeating and gradually getting worse and worse and worse over time.
Yeah. That's what I experienced too. Yeah. Yeah, and things can like kind of cool off for a little bit, and maybe the arguments aren't that intense, but then they get gradually more intense over time. So it can be a really difficult cycle, especially when you're in it, because you don't necessarily see it. Even if someone's laying it out for you, you know, you can be blind to it.
Oh, you rationalize it. You totally like, you make excuses. Like it's this weird phenomenon where you're just like that your abuser, you're just like protecting your abuser.
Yep.
So fiercely. Like,
I think for me, and I think for a lot of us, getting caught in those cycles, the root of that is lack of self-love, lack of self-worth, because anything in our reality that shows up externally is a reflection, right? So like I can definitely trace back that thread, and I was not loving myself, totally on the opposite end, hating myself
100%.
and I attracted partners that treated me as such.
Right. That was my experience as well. I look back to that version of me, and it's like that was a time that I like really, I hated myself. I didn't take care of myself in the way that I should, and I like didn't really love my job anymore. That was like towards the end of my military career, and like that was just so I naturally attracted this person who treated me horribly. And I always said like, oh, I'll never be that person that ends up in like a situation like this. And like it happened.
You don't know until you're really in it. And this is not to blame any victims like at all, but it is to say that we all have accountability and we all have choice at any given moment. So even though I have endured abuse in relationships on every level possible, like I've covered all those bases, I can say without blaming myself and making myself feel guilty that I had a part in that I was choosing that each and every day during that time. Like that was a choice. Even when I feel like I didn't have a choice, even when I felt like maybe it's, not safe to leave, like it was still a choice to stay in that.
Right.
So just to clarify.
I love that. You clarified that.
Clarify you. Blushing. Anyways. All right. So what else would be important to cover? Like maybe some tips on like, I don't know, how to like empower yourself as you're healing from it.
Well, this sounds really cliche, but time is the healer of all things. I think especially when it comes to emotional abuse, and empowering yourself by like, it's really easy, to be hard on yourself. Like, oh, I put myself in this position. Like, why would I do this to myself? Like, I can't believe that I like went through this. But like, I think it's really great to reframe it as like, okay, like I went through this, but like now I have all of this like wisdom when it comes to relationships. And now I know moving forward into the future what I will and will not tolerate when it comes to anybody, friendships, family dynamics, romantic relationships. You just like have this inner knowing now. It's like, I've experienced this. And you can also like have that power to call it out in your future relationships. Like,
if you notice,
I noticed this about you, and I just don't want this to be a pattern, and let's fix it. And if it continues to happen, then you like we are more empowered and like loving yourself to like remove yourself from that situation,
right?
Too, you're just like, okay, I'm not going to tolerate this is a pattern, I'm out.
Right. I'm thinking about, for me, during the times that I've left, emotionally abusive relationships, I just left feeling like so I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
who am I? Yeah.
Right.
Like,
No,
what is the direction? There's no clear direction.
that's real. Especially when you go through like periods of being gaslit so bad. It's almost like you can't think for yourself anymore. You're like,
Right.
wait, especially when they're out of the picture, right?
Yeah,
They're out of
right.
the picture and
Right.
you're like, wait, but what would this person think or
Right.
do? Or like, you know, and it's really having to like disconnect from so many layers of that person once you've removed yourself.
Because they still like have that hold on you, like an invisible hold.
Right.
For sure. I mean, I went through like months of that. Honestly, probably like sometimes I still have moments of it, but I think it took me like a good year.
Of course. Yeah.
Obviously, everyone's on their own timeline, but I mean, I think it took like another traumatic experience that we went through for me to like really trust my intuition again and like listen to my inner voice, because for the longest time I just totally didn't trust myself. So I think, you know, that goes with the time piece, you know, like, and also like play with it, like experiment with your own intuition. Like I've talked about this with my clients before, you know, that have gone through similar experiences, and they're like, well, how do I tell if this is just fear or my intuition, you know? And like it's like that saying, you know, and I think it's very true, like fear is super loud and it's screaming at you, and your intuition can be like pretty soft and subtle and warm and comforting. So like that's like a good, you know,
like a grandmother.
Depending on your grandmother.
Like my grandmother.
Yes, like my grandma.
Like your grams. Yeah.
Grams.
Yeah. That's your intuition.
Shout out Grams.
Shout out to Grams. We love you.
Yeah, but giving yourself that time to like experiment with your inner voice, and then over time you're going to see like, oh my gosh, I have so much more discernment than I thought. I can make decisions. I know what's good for me, what's bad for me, and it's okay if I'm making mistakes. Like I'm not going to get it perfect. It's all good. I can think for myself again, and that is so empowering, but that is not going to happen overnight.
Oh no. I think it probably took me, my timeline was probably like a good year of having to like trust myself again. It took me, it was a lot of repairs that had to be made during that time. Because there's still so many like, you know, like they're not physically around, but they're still very much like attached to you, and you have all of these, you know, things they might have said to you or that just kind of stay, and it's a process of you trying to transmute like these things that are not your truths.
Right.
They are not your truths about you.
Right.
So things that they maybe had projected onto you during the span of your relationship.
And then you take it on.
And then at least for me, like I totally, you know, everyone's different, but I tend to like, carry things with me until I realize, oh wait, this is still affecting me, you know? You know, like I had something happen when we first started dating. I don't remember exactly, but you said something really playful to me, and out of nowhere, like I started crying. And then I was like, oh wait, like this is coming up. I connected the dots, like, you know, years and years later, you know, and then I had to like transmute that. So it can, you know, it's a process.
Yeah, you're going to get triggered, you know, and just like allow other relationships to, you know, trigger you. Yeah. Because that's deeper healing.
100%. I've never healed on this level before.
With me.
With you.
I know.
It's crazy.
You're welcome.
It's crazy. Wow.
Sorry, she's and so you're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other tips? I'm just trying to think about. Or like maybe like thinking about, you know, you when you were fresh out of a situation like this, like what advice would you give to her?
Oh, the advice that I would give to myself is just to be patient with yourself, you know, like truly feel all of these things. It's okay to be lost. You're not, it's temporary. You're not going to be lost forever. You're going to come out of this so much stronger and so much more empowered and so much more attuned to yourself and your wants and your needs.
Oh, I love that. That's speaking to my heart.
Yeah.
You're so sweet.
So what would you tell your younger version of yourself that just got out and you're just in the thick of it? You're out of this relationship, this emotionally abusive relationship. What advice or guidance or just like message would you want to send to her?
I feel like I'm gonna cry.
It's okay. You can cry if you want.
I'm in the luteal phase, so I'm feeling particularly sensitive. But
Yeah.
I would tell her that I love her and that I see her, and congratulations for making one of the most difficult decisions, but also one of the most profound decisions and transformative decisions that she's ever made. And just reassuring her that this is going to change the trajectory of her life, and the light that this is unexpected.
It's okay.
The light that she is exuding is going to be returned to her tenfold.
I love that. It's okay, honey.
Yeah, I'm just like really feeling women that go through situations like this, It's just I mean anyone really, but whew.
It's such a difficult and challenging thing. And I think everybody goes through this at some point in their life with someone, and it's just like it's a really terrible experience, but on the other side of it, when you come out, like you said, like your light is returned to you tenfold. Like you're so much more expansive and open, and it can be really beautiful on the other side of it.
Yes, 100%. So maybe let's take a couple breaths together as we wrap this up. So if you'd like, close your eyes or offer a soft gaze and just begin gently breathing in through the nose, letting it out through the mouth. Nice, soft, gentle, sweet breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, focusing right here on the breath. The light in us is honoring, seeing, and loving the light within you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being you, your divine, unique codes and gifts. We're so grateful for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Gently allowing your breath to deepen and slowly come back, opening up your eyes, coming back to the here and now.
Beautiful. So be. How are you feeling?
I'm to be honest, I'm feeling heavy. Like this, even though we didn't go super in depth,
Yeah.
This is like a heavy topic, and I think it's just like kind of shining light on some parts that maybe need some deeper healing for me.
Yeah.
So, but I'm also feeling like really glad that we talked about this, because unfortunately I think that this is so prevalent, and I just want to shine a light on this. And then maybe if you're like, listening to this and you feel like, oh my God, like you're kind of describing like my relationship or my situationship, like it could be, a light bulb that goes off for you. And then maybe, you could be saving yourself like years of like this awful cycle that we both have been through,
Right. Yeah. So if anybody that's listening that needs to go deeper wants to, like, book a free vibe check with us. You get 30 minutes of just chatting with us. Like, we really like to make it low key, really informal, like you're just talking to friends, and we'd love to connect with you that way. And
also, we have put out a 21-day Go Love Yourself challenge, and it's 21 days of really just connecting deeper with yourself, you know, doing mirror affirmations, doing different breathwork activations, going deep with your journaling. Like it's a 21-day beautiful commitment, and it goes by really quick, but it goes super deep. And we guarantee that something in you, if not multiple things, are going to feel and be totally transformed. So, you know, I know that when I was just getting out of my last emotionally abusive relationship, doing a self-love challenge was probably one of the best gifts I've ever given myself, because that really just like changed everything for me within. But it also allowed me to like attract, you know, my beautiful wife, who is my total like soulmate now. Not saying that like that was the goal or the intention at all, but like
it was unintentional.
yeah, magic really happens. So, you know, that is a resource for you if you'd like to go deeper.
Yes. And where can they find that at?
They can find that on the School platform. We're on School, so go check us out, the Mason Movement.
Yes. Lots of amazing resources on there for you guys. So, with all of that being said, thank you for supporting us and joining us every week. We're so excited to be giving all of this knowledge and wisdom away, and we hope that it connects with somebody who really needs to hear it. And we will see you in the next episode.